Hello, I welcome you all for this presentation on unit number 5. The title for that unit number 5 that we are going to discuss in this today's session is nothing but the HVAC control. Let us look at what are the different contents for this unit number 5. We will be discussing about the basic elements of the control with the help of the block diagram, the different types of the detecting elements, actuating elements, the electrical motors and their controls, what controls are used in the refrigeration equipment, then the controlling the room conditions at the partial load and the different types of the induction systems. The first and the foremost question that should arise in your mind, that why there is a requirement for an HVAC control, or what is the need for which that we can refer for the control required for an HVAC system. Now it is a very general or the common observation that we can say the refrigeration load and capacity of the plant that tends to fluctuate or that tends to continuously vary. This condition or this situation is nothing but similar to that of an operation of an internal combustion engine. We know that the load on the internal combustion engine that never remains a constant, or for most of the time it fluctuates. So we need to take into account the variation of this load by varying the supply of the air and fuel supply to the engine. So in the similar fashion, the refrigeration load and the capacity of the plant that also fluctuates, that also varies. Now this changes in the load or the changes in the capacities that may occur due to the changes which might be occurring there due to the input as well as the outside conditions. The input conditions that may be the different types of the food items that you might be keeping in that particular space which is required to be conditioned, which is required to be maintained at some specific temperatures. The capacity may also change due to the outside conditions, and we know that the outside conditions, the surrounding temperature, the humidity that varies over a period of time from morning to the evening. And the plant which is used for application that is normally designed for a peak load or for the maximum load that the plant can handle. But hardly there are some situations that the plant would be working at their fullest capacity or for the peak load for which it is designed. Many of the time the plant normally operates at a capacity lower than that of what the peak load is there. So the capacity is normally greater than the immediate demand. So such situations normally result in the lower suction pressure and the temperature, that is the thing about the evaporation pressure and the evaporation temperature. So it is necessary that to take care of these changes in the pressure and the temperature, we should also vary the flow rate of the refrigerant that should be taking place in the different components of an air conditioning system, for which we need the different types of the controls. We can also say that the control system is nothing but the brain of the plant for its successful and the economic operation. So it is nothing but the CPU of an HVAC system for its proper operation, for its successful and the economical operation. Incorporation of this control system that makes the plant independent of the skilled supervision. You may not require a skilled supervisor all the time that would be going that particular equipment and would be looking 24/7. Just by sitting at one place, all the data would be available at his display, and accordingly he can take the decision. So less skilled supervision is required for the operation of the various controls. The other advantage that we can gain with the help of the controls is that it achieves a higher degree of the accuracy to maintain the various operating parameters or the variables such as the temperature, pressure and humidity of the major importance. And incorporation of the control elements that provide the flexibility in the operation of a very complicated or the complex plant, which may consist of the number of equipments or that may be used for the storage of the number of foodstuffs, vegetables, fruits and other examples. Now this particular block diagram shows the basic elements of a control system, which essentially consists of a transmitting element, a regulating element, then your plant, then the detecting element, measuring element, and the positioner. So this is nothing but the block diagram for the some of the basic elements which can be used for the control system and the sequence in which they can be arranged. Now let us look at some of the basic elements and their functions in the upcoming slides. Detecting element. So detecting element is the one which feeds the signal to the control element in case of any deviation. In case of any deviation, it means that in case of any major changes that can be observed in the recording of a variable, let us say temperature or pressure or humidity. So any change in this particular parameter, in this property, so that is normally detected with the help of the detecting elements, and it helps to feed the signal for the control element. Measuring element. Measuring element is nothing but which measures or which records the extent to which this deviation or the difference takes place for a control variable from the predetermined value for some set value, and accordingly it helps to trigger the actuating element. It helps the actuating element to take the necessary action. The positioner. So the positioner is responsible to set the value of the control variable such as the temperature, pressure, and humidity. So some predetermined values can be set, can be put to required number with the help of the positioner. Transmitting element. So many times it is necessary between the actuating and the regulating element. It acts as a link between the actuating and the regulating element that we can say. Where the functions of other elements may be combined together as one unit as per the requirement, as per the need. The detecting elements. Look at first the discussion for the detecting elements. The detecting elements often say the sensing elements, sensing devices. This consists of the measuring device and the positioner, which are incorporated or which are built into the detecting element. Some of the common types of the detecting elements which can be used in practice for the HVAC controls are bimetal type thermostat, sealed bellow type thermostat, electric resistance thermostat, thermocouple type thermostat, and electronic thermostat. We are going to discuss some types of these detecting elements in our discussion. One of the very commonly used type of the detecting element or thermostat is nothing but the bimetal type thermostat. So the thermostat is basically nothing but a detecting element which is used to record one of the very important variable parameter, that is nothing but the temperature. Adjoining sketch that shows the arrangement, that shows the diagram for a bimetal type thermostat. The name itself indicates the bimetal. It means that you are having the two different metals. So you are in this particular diagram, it can be seen that there are the two strips of the dissimilar metals. Two strips of the dissimilar metals are joined together, and most commonly used dissimilar metals, out of which one is nothing but the N1, which is having the low coefficient of thermal expansion of the order of 0.9 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius, and another metal that is used is nothing but the brass, which is having the high coefficient of thermal expansion of the order of 17.5 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius. The principle of operation of this thermostat is based upon the change in temperature. So the change or the variation in the temperature that results in the non-uniform expansion and the consequent bending or the change in the shape of that detecting element, change in the shape of this bimetallic strips. Now if there is increase in the temperature, it causes the bimetal strip to wrap in the direction of the inward and vice versa. If there is increase in temperature, it causes the bimetal strip to wrap in the direction of a low coefficient of thermal expansion. And if there is a decrease in temperature, then the vice versa action is likely to take place. Now this change in the configuration, it means that the change in the direction of the bending of this bimetal strip, that with the change in the temperature can be utilized, can be made use of for the further action. Further action, it means that either to open or close the electrical circuit, those are in contact with the electrically operated unit, or causes the opening and closing of the orifices if your system is pneumatically operated. So you can have either the electrically operated unit or you can have the pneumatically operated unit. So electrical contacts may be closed or open, and your orifice may be closed and open depending upon the change in the temperature and change in the configuration of the bimetallic strip. Such kinds of the bimetallic thermostat are normally used for the home application, or say for a very small commercial applications, maybe for a small restaurant. The another type of the thermostat which is also very commonly used is nothing but the sealed bellow type thermostat. Now we are going to discuss the two different arrangements for this sealed bellow type thermostat. Initially, what the principle is there? The principle of operation of such type of thermostats is based upon the expansion of gases with the temperature. We know that the gases are nothing but the compressible and the expandable. So with the increase in the temperature, the gases tend to expand, and with the decrease in the temperature, the gases tends to with the increase in temperature, the gases tend to expand, and vice versa. It consists of an vessel which normally consists of an expandable gas, and the change in volume of this gas with the change in temperature, which essentially helps to cause the movement of a mercury column, which can be seen in this particular diagram, which is on the right hand side of this slide. Okay, you are having one vessel which is say containing expandable gas, which is nothing but the hydrogen here, and on the other side in a capillary that you can have another liquid metal which is nothing but the mercury. So such type of a mercury column makes or breaks directly or through the relay of an electrical circuit which controls the temperature. Now this diagram shows the two platinum wire. On the left side it is nothing but the A, on the right side it is nothing but the B. So both of these A and B platinum wires, this serves as a lead current into and out of the mercury. Okay, into the mercury and out of the mercury. So this mercury is in series with the electrical circuit which will take the necessary action. The circuit breaks the junction of the hydrogen and mercury. Okay, the junction between the hydrogen and mercury, that is broken by the circuit at point A, and the vessel which is containing the gas, it is essential that it should have the large surface area as well as the volume to replace the effect of the room temperature variations in the capillary. The another type of the bellow that we can have is nothing but the one which is provided with a control spring, or say as adjustment by the force which can be applied to this linkage. So this force can be applied to the linkage either by rotating the knob in the appropriate direction, or either you can insert a spring in between here. The control spring provided acts as a positioner to preset the value of the control variable. So depending upon the tension that can be given with the help of the say the nut, or with the help of a spring, that helps to set the value of a control variable, let us say the temperature. Now such type of a bellow can be either liquid charge or the gas charge. So both types can be used in this particular arrangement. Now if the system is liquid charge, then vapor pressure will increase with the increase in temperature. We know that there is a variation, there is a what you can say, the variation between the pressure and the temperature that can take place. So this vapor tends to condense on the coldest part, and if the bellows, this one, if these bellows are cooler than the bulb, okay, which is there at the bottom of this what you can say, the bulb which is there at the bottom side of this arrangement, okay, if the bellows are cooler than the bulb, then the liquid will get accumulate in the bellows in the upper part, and as such no liquid will remain in the lower part, or that is in the bulb, which will effectively become the gas charge and insensitive to the temperature. Means all the liquid will be accumulated in the upper part or in the bellows only, and the lower part of the system, that is nothing but the bulb, that will be entirely filled with the gas only, and thus it will be insensitive to the temperature charge. Now this is undesirable. It is essential that this element should have a sufficient charge to leave some liquid in the bulb all the time. So even if the bellows and capillary are completely filled with the liquid. So if both this bellow as well as the bulb is filled with the liquid, but it should contain that one for the normal operation of this particular bellow. Now such type of a bellow is used for the low temperature applications. The next part of the discussion is nothing but the humidity control elements. The humidity control is very important or integral part for the comfort and the industrial applications. And this humidity is nothing but the water vapor which are present in the air. Now there are some critical areas or the applications where the control of the humidity is very essential or that of foremost importance. What are such areas? Such areas are nothing but the operation theatres in the hospitals, then the data centers, rooms, the textile mills where very high humidity is required, the printing operations or the printing press, and some photographic studios. So these are some of the important applications where the control of the humidity is of prime importance. Now the equipment which is used to control the humidity is known as the humidistat. Okay, it is known as humidistat. Now this humidistat is sensitive to the moisture changes. It means that the humidity changes, and it operates the equipment to maintain the desired humidity in the space. It operates the equipment to take the necessary actions so that the desired humidity can always be maintained as per the requirement, as per the need. So let us look at one of the important humidistat which is shown in this figure. This is nothing but the block diagram for a humidistat which uses the bellow elements for the humidity control. So one bellow element can be seen there onto the left hand side, another is there onto the right hand side. There is a lever which may move in the left direction as well as the right direction as per the changes that would be taking place in the system. There is a control spring which is likely to compress and likely to expand with the changes in the variable, that is nothing but the humidity. And at the bottom we can have the two bulbs. So it can be seen that the one bulb that is open to the air and another bulb that is nothing but the covered with the help of the wet cloth. So definitely the bulb which is there on the left hand side is used to record the dry bulb temperature, and that on the right hand side is used to record the wet bulb temperature. So two temperature sensitive elements are used to measure the dry bulb and wet bulb temperature and hence the humidity. So the difference in the dry bulb and wet bulb temperature is used as a principle, as a basis for recording the changes in the humidity. Two thermistors can also be used coupled to the Wheatstone bridge in case of an electrical arrangement. Such a device operates on the basis of the increase or decrease in the difference of dry bulb and wet bulb temperature of an air for controlling the humidity. So difference between this dBT and WBT form the basis of the fundamental which helps for the control of an humidity. The another type of the humidistat which can be shown here is nothing but it uses a hair membrane, that is nothing but a human hair or the animal membrane can also be used. Why? Because this human hair or the animal membrane is nothing but an important element which is nothing but also called as the hygroscopic element. Okay. So this arrangement shows one hair, then you are having say one pointer or one lever. At the top hand side it is nothing but the relative humidity scale. So this pointer would be moving toward the left or the right according to the changes in the humidity spring, which is controlled to an electrical circuit to take the necessary action further. The humidistat shown in the figure that uses the human hair, that as I told earlier, either human hair or the animal membrane, both are nothing but highly hygroscopic elements as the water vapor absorbing material from the air. So any material which is capable of absorbing the water vapor can be used in this application. The quantity of the water vapor absorbed, that depends upon the relative humidity of the air, isn't it? If the relative humidity of the air is less, then the ability to absorb the water vapor will be more and vice versa. Let us say one of the application that the elongation of the hair is taking place. Okay, the elongation of this hair is taking place, which essentially is due to the increase in the relative humidity. So this causes the clockwise movement of this pointer turning toward the right side, and which may operate the switch on the extreme right side with the help of the connected spring. So the higher relative humidity would be observed on this scale as the expansion of this hair membrane takes place. The opposite action will take place if there is a decrease in the length of an hair due to the decrease in the relative humidity. Such type of a humidistat are normally suitable for the temperature ranges up to 60 degrees Celsius and a humidity range. We can see that there is a very vast humidity range of the order of from 15% to the 95% relative humidity. Such types of the humidistat can be used without any problem, without any obstacles. So that is all for this particular session related to the HVAC control. Other types of the HVAC control that we will see in the coming sessions.